Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, everybody. The world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. We are over 30 over on the live me. Now, things are going to be a little different today. Other than me randomly fixing my hair, that happens every time. That's like clockwork. But we're going to do the theme, and then I will explain everything that's going on. Get your news on with Ron, before I know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron, before I know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together. We'll make it our own. Get your news on with Ron, before I know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron, I wanna know what's going on. Let's hope it starts World War III. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together. We'll make it our own. Get your news on with Ron, I wanna know what's going on. Get our news on today. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. Everybody on Live Me, we are in real time. Everybody on YouTube, we're coming at you slightly from the past. Let me explain what's going on. So usually we do this show at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we just started doing it on YouTube last week, at the end of last week. My cat is whiny because she doesn't know why this is going on at this time. I know, Joe. I mean, I am, but I'm not. I am, but it's unlisted. That's what's going on. It'll go up on the YouTube later. And here's why that is, guys. So, what's up, Cody? I need to go to the doctor tomorrow. Tomorrow being Friday. I'm going to be at the doctor. Because here's what happened. You guys heard me mention, and this is actually going to be our first story today, because I think this is very interesting. I had an experience with healthcare, and as a result, I'm going to be at the doctor Friday morning, and I had to make it in the morning because I'll do another announcement here, and you guys are the first to hear this. I will be on the Young Turks live show tomorrow during hour 1. So I'm going to be on the TYT main show tomorrow, which is across town from me. So I need to get over there. So I'll be on hour 1 tomorrow of the TYT main show. So we're doing the stream now, and it'll be hitting the YouTube in the morning, and that's what's going on. And I just got a random phone call. It's different in the evening, huh? Yeah, so that's what's going on. I'll be on the TYT main show. And so I have to go to the doctor. Now, why didn't I go to the doctor today? I tried to. So I'm going to tell you guys a story, and I'm going to read this to you. I posted this on my Facebook, and then something very interesting happened. Now, it's not often that I do a story about like my experience necessarily, but I think this really has a theme going here that's really interesting. So here's what happened to me. And I'm just going to read it to you guys. A story of contrast for anyone interested. In 2005, I was in Italy studying abroad. During a beach day, I was less cautious than I should have been and got a fairly bad sunburn. I looked up the word for sunburn because it was pretty bad and I wanted to go get looked at. So I looked up the word for sunburn, it's scottatura, and I went to a pharmacy hoping to find aloe vera or something similar like that to put on my sunburn. So I got there and I was given 2 different lotions, one for healing and one for moisture. A doctor came over to me. There are doctors at pharmacies in Italy and other European countries. A doctor came over to me, and he took a look at me. He took my vitals, took my temperature, you know, took my blood pressure, you know, listened to my heart, all like kind of the usual thing. He inspected the burn. He told me what level burn it was. And then they sent me on my way. Now, the woman told me that I would need to pay something because I'm not a resident. I'm a visitor from another country. I'm not a resident of Italy. I was going to have to pay something. So I figured this was going to be pretty steep, right? I started getting out some bigger euro bills thinking, you know, this is going to, I just saw a doctor. I just had a checkup basically in a country where I don't have insurance. Who knows how much this is going to cost? I was anticipating, you know, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, man, this could run me as much as €100, right? Now, as I was getting out these big bills, the woman looked at me like I was crazy because it ended up costing me, I don't remember the exact amount. I want to say it was €2. I do remember distinctly it was less than 5. So it was less than €5 for all this. So that's the story from 2005. Now, here's what happened to me today. Fast forward to today. So I have a little bit of an ear infection. I'm fighting it, and you guys can probably hear I'm congested overall too. And it's pretty annoying. You know, I kind of feel like I have a fishbowl in my head. It's not fun. So I called my doctor. What's up, Colin? So I called my doctor. My doctor couldn't see me until Monday. So I was like, look, I have an ear infection. Like, I want to get this taken care of. So I told them, like, I'm going to try to figure something else out. So I tried a CVS clinic. Like some of the CVSs, they have clinics. I scheduled an appointment for noon. All right, so I'll get back to reading the story here. I get there, and of course, before the nurse's assistant even asks what's wrong, she asks how I'll be paying and for insurance info. So I give it to her. Turns out my insurance was out of network. She informed me it would be around $150 just to be seen by the nurse. And that doesn't include any prescriptions. That's just to be seen, just for the nurse to be like, hey, I'm meeting with you now, $150. $150. And that doesn't include any prescriptions. I said, fine. I was willing to just eat it. I was like, whatever. I have an ear infection. It's not comfortable. I need to take care of this and get on with my life, right? Then she received a phone call. I'm sitting there in the office. She's, you know, asking me questions. She's taking my vitals or whatever. She gets a phone call. She picks up the call. She goes, yeah, hangs up the phone. And she informs me, that was the nurse. She had a few patients ahead of you, and then she's going to lunch. It'll be sometime after 2 when she'll be able to see you. My appointment was for noon. She told me the nurse would not be able to see me until after 2. So I said, look, I don't know. This is going to cost me a pretty penny, and all I want are eardrops. I have an ear infection. You know, I just need eardrops. Like, that's it. So, and the attendant did genuinely want to help me. I will give that to her. She was a very nice lady. I could tell she just wanted to help. She was very friendly. She called the nurse. She's like, look, there's a guy here. Like, he has an ear infection. He just kind of needs those drops. And the nurse was like, whatever. I'm busy. I'm going to get lunch. Whatever. Don't care. So that was that. So I was like, thanks for trying. So I called my doctor's office again, and I was like, look, I'm kind of getting jerked around at this clinic. Is there any way? I mean, I don't want to have to wait until Monday. I have an ear infection. My doctor's assistant called me back, said they could squeeze me in tomorrow morning. So I made the decision that I'd rather be seen by my actual doctor and use my insurance than pay more money to not even be seen by a doctor. So I was like, I'll just suck it up for a day. So that's why I'm going to the doctor tomorrow morning. And I technically went today, but failed. So I went back into the CVS. I asked them to cancel me. That's not something that they do. They said, look, if you want to leave, just leave. That's how they do it. Like, if you just don't show up, like, whatever. You're just, it just is what it is. So here's what I wrote here. At the end of the day, this isn't a huge deal. You know, it's not like this is some, an ear infection is not that big of a deal. You know, and it's a very treatable thing. You get the drops, you're fine. I'm not necessarily in insurmountable pain. It's annoying, sure, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't so severe that I couldn't just wait until the morning to be seen by my actual doctor. But compare that to Italy. And then tell me again how universal healthcare is such a bad idea. So what's interesting is I posted this story on my Facebook, and randomly I started getting a bunch of people telling me similar stories that all kind of followed this theme. And I'd like to share some of them with you. I'm going to leave these people's names anonymous because I don't know. I mean, they did post it on my Facebook, so it's public, but I won't say their names. So here we go. I just got a text message. Sorry about that. I had a similar experience in Taiwan. It was a holiday week, Lunar New Year, and I was ridiculously ill. I saw a doc and got a prescription and was on my way for a very low amount. I can't even remember how much, but not enough to stress my low budget lifestyle at that time. So a person was traveling around Taiwan. They got pretty sick. They don't even remember how much. That's how negligible it was. They don't even remember how much they paid. Here's another story. I recently sprained my ankle in Egypt. I didn't want to see a doctor at first. After about a week, I finally went to a pharmacy with the intention of getting a brace. Instead, the doctor behind the counter asked me some questions, told me a brace would only prevent healing, and gave me pills and 2 creams to help with the swelling and pain. All of this cost the equivalent to around $3. $3. I regained full movement on my ankle in about a week. If I had been in the U.S., I can't even imagine how much this would have cost, especially since I currently have no insurance. Here's another story. When I lived in Korea, I had the same kind of realization. I caught the swine flu and went to the hospital. It probably cost me no more than $20, and I stayed there for 4 days. 4-day stay at the hospital, $20. I got a prescription when I was discharged, and I literally stuck it in a vending machine to get the meds. We are the wealthiest country in the world and also the most backward when it comes to healthcare. Very true. Here's another story. This is not a fun one. I got bit by a wasp last summer. Turns out I am allergic to wasps. Total cost for 24 hours in the hospital, $3,600. This is in the United States now. With universal health care, I would have had absolutely no privilege and honor of paying for this excellent service. So at least they're able to see the humor in it, the person that posted this on my wall. Here's another story. I cut my thumb really deep doing some housework and panicked to the nearest ER. I had to get 3 stitches, nothing too complicated. But it was out of network, so it cost me $1,500. Pretty much cleaned out my savings account. That, of course, happened here in the United States. I had an experience when I lived in Sweden in 2011. This is another story. I've had back issues since I was 14 because of a birth defect, but I thought I would be able to make it the full year in Sweden without any problems. I had been running and basically stepped wrong and tripped, which resulted in back pain 24/7. I was already thinking about how much it was going to cost, so I told my mom to wire me $1,000 just in case. For 2 years, my mom and I went to 20 different doctors regarding my back, and it was a major financial hit. I get to the hospital, and I was seen right away. They did x-rays, an MRI, and a full checkup on me. They gave me a prescription and scheduled a follow-up. I went to the front desk, filled with anxiety about how much this was going to cost, only to be told it was the equivalent of $25. I was floored. So floored, I had to ask in English if I was misunderstanding the Swedish. They looked at me so weird, like it seemed I wanted to be charged more. Also, the follow-up was free, and the prescriptions cost me under $10. Wow. And someone pointed out also in the comments that Sweden uses private insurance, but it's not for profit, so it's a huge difference from ours. Here in Canada, at worst, you would have a 2 to 4 hour wait in a walk-in clinic and get your meds the same day. No bill except for the meds, unless you're over 65, in which case the meds are free. I believe meds for children may now be free in certain provinces too. This is from Jeff Waldorf. I'll share this because this is from Jeff over at TYT Nation. Last week, I paid over $100 to get seen by a nurse practitioner and get some cough medicine and an antibiotic for whatever I was sick with over New Year's. Our system is nuts. Cough medicine, over $100. Just get seen by a nurse. My parents, there's another story. My parents, a retired dentist and a retired nurse, would be bankrupt if we didn't have universal health care. I believe this person lives in Canada. Both have suffered heart attacks. Both have had heart-related surgery, including a bypass. My dad has had multiple strokes, a lot of which occurred before age 65, not incidentally. Top doctors, top hospital. No one told us where to go except see this great doctor. Someone that lives in Guatemala said Harrison's eye exam last week was the equivalent of $5.50. I had 11 stitches back in the UK in 2002. Cost me £5. I sprained my knee in Ireland in 1999. This is an American citizen, by the way. I sprained my knee in Ireland in 1999. Waited at a clinic in Kilkenny for about 45 minutes. X-rays, crutches, 6 Vicodin, $50 out of pocket. $50. My son sprained his ankle a few months ago. X-rays through insurance barely covered. $189 out of pocket after a monthly $800 premium. Guy pays $800 a month for his health care. His son sprained his ankle, barely covered the X-rays, and it was still $189 out of pocket. Another story. My friend got a dislocated shoulder visiting Montreal years ago. Went to a Canadian hospital, and they basically didn't charge him in American anything. I'm not even sure a nominal fee. I also had to see doctors a couple times visiting Umbria, Italy, and I don't remember the cost being any issue at all. And I had a cut or something when I was in Egypt and saw a doctor in a clinic near the pyramids, and that too was incredibly little money. I think health systems like that are great, as long as there's money ultimately to pay the doctors solid wages because they have to go through incredibly rigorous medical school for years, and you want them motivated enough to care about their job and patients, but that seems very doable in countries that have heavily state-subsidized medicine. Yeah, it works. Yeah, it works. You look at doctors in other countries, they're very happy. They're very happy. And you know what? They become doctors not just because they want to make a decent living, and they do make a decent living. They make a very decent living. But they also genuinely want to help people. They're not just, they have a little bit more than just profit motive because, some people, that's the only reason they become a doctor. When you have such a profit motivated system like we do in the United States. I was rear-ended in 2006. This is another story. I ended up having to get my spine fused from C2, T2, L5, LSI joint, 2 hip replacements, and shoulder surgery. Ongoing shoulder surgery. And at least 1 more spine hip surgery. Thank you for the likes, Becca. I appreciate that. Thank you. Good to see you. My bills have been over $1 million. I lost my insurance 3 times due to caps. Once I had a company decide that neurosurgery is elective and not pay the bills. I waited for the Affordable Care Act to fix my 9th surgery, which my spine collapsed. I was stable and it wouldn't kill me, so I waited like that for 3 months. He waited with a collapsed spine for 3 months. Then I lost my Affordable Care Act because of the rate hikes. If I wrote about all the horror and needless suffering, this would be pages long. I can honestly say I've earned my right to say this system is for shit, no matter if it's an ear infection or what I went through. Fuck this. That's a pretty heavy one. Collapsed spine. Had to sit like that for 3 months because of astronomical healthcare costs. I recently traveled to Mexico and Peru with family. My mom and brother got sick while in Peru, and my sister slashed her leg. They give you antibiotics at a small pharmacy, and they also offer shots, even some you can do on your own. I got food poisoning myself. None of the antibiotics we were given without a doctor or nurse cost even $1. The shots are like $5. I see this in third world countries, and it baffles me why we, as a first world nation, can't even compete. It's beyond reprehensible now. Hashtag single payer now. This is just from my Facebook wall. This is not some article that someone did research for all over the country and they found a couple anomalies. These are just from my Facebook friends, from me posting this story. Listen to all those stories. Somebody had stitches, it cost £5. Somebody fell and sprained their ankle really bad, needed help. It only cost them $50. Somebody had an accident, a car accident, which happens every day, which I've been in, and I'm sure all of you have been in. And it cost him over $1 million. Somebody couldn't move their ankle. It was sprained so bad. It cost them $3 to get fixed. It's unreal. I mean, this is unreal. How anybody can be against universal health care and to not want us to see us have a universal system, which every country that has some form of a universal system has better results than we do, is ranked grossly higher than us as far as a healthcare system goes. Single payer now is right. Single payer now. The time is now. And I don't know about you. I refuse to vote for anybody that does not support single payer and support single payer for real. It's just beyond. I mean, that is the biggest issue, I think, plaguing this country. And yeah, Colin, you said it. It really needs to change. It is beyond a point of crisis at this point. And I wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you found that fascinating, because I was just floored at this is my face. I mean, this is just my Facebook. So there you go. Yeah, it's very much a shame. Very much a shame. But let's not talk about this, because Trump said shithole. When I visited my friends in England, they literally laughed at us, not thinking it's a right. Yeah. GoFundMe is going to be our payment plan. Absolutely. I'm going to live in a bubble and wear helmets and pads everywhere I go. Aw. I have a friend who died because he couldn't afford health care. It is all too common. Thousands of people die from that every year in this country. They die from lack of health care. Let's see here. You think that the wall will be built now that that meeting took place? No, I don't. No, I don't. Do you? What did I think about the live Trump TV meeting? I didn't see it, but let's talk about that. Is this where the shithole thing came from? Nice to meet you. Good to meet you, Jessica. So, guys, feel free to tweet me articles. I know we're doing it a little bit differently tonight, but by all means. You tend to get lonely all too often, crying inside, not so much outside anymore. It's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. I'm sorry to hear that. All right. Your obese friend is on life support. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I hope your friend's okay. All right. Let me go check. So, yeah, Trump's meeting. I don't think so. I don't think the wall. I don't think the wall's going to be built. Well, I hope he gets it if that's what he needs. All right. So, thank you guys for the likes. I appreciate it. We'll do some headlines over on Democracy Now. And since this is Democracy Now, you know what that means. Oh, and here we're gonna talk about Trump and the wall. That's one of the headlines, so we'll cover it there. I know somebody wanted to talk about it. We'll get to it. But when Amy Goodman, host of Democracy Now, was in California, where I live, I was in Washington, D.C., and then I left Washington, D.C. to go home to Los Angeles. And where did she go next? Washington, D.C. I thought it was kind of funny. Amy Goodman's one of my favorite journalists that's out there. I still like Democracy Now! A lot. So I wrote this song as a little bit of a tribute. Oh, Amy, my favorite journalist. Oh, Amy, I don't want to be a miss, but I don't want to miss you. I want to hear you speak, get a chance to tell you where your news gets me to me. Oh, Amy, oh, Amy. I found you in 2004. I never knew what it meant to be anti-war before you challenge power, you challenge the status quo. You don't like WS, you just tell people what they need to know. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I found you in 2004. I never knew what it meant to be anti-war before. I'll be in D.C. when you're in California, eh? Then I go home and it's the same thing, just the other way. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron. For anyone just tuning in, this is Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means you guys tweet me articles at Ron Placone, and that's how we build the show. Nothing is planned in advance on my part. Unfortunately, this morning, if you're over on the YouTube, you're hearing this in the morning, and unfortunately, we are not live. Why? Because I had to go to the doctor Friday morning. I'm at the doctor when this is airing, but live me, we're live and in real time. And it's because I had to get to the doctor because I have an ear infection. And those of you that have been watching so far, you know the deal there. Crazy, crazy story. Not really that crazy, but yeah, interesting. So, Trump hardens immigration stance saying, quote, "We need the wall." President Donald Trump hardened his position on immigration Wednesday, a day after he appeared to support a wide-reaching deal that could grant millions of undocumented people a pathway to citizenship. During a meeting with congressional leaders on Tuesday, Trump repeatedly said he would take the heat for a sweeping immigration deal, which would likely be opposed by much of his far right-wing anti-immigrant base. President Trump also said he wanted a bill to protect the 800,000 young undocumented people known as Dreamers, whose protections he attempted to rescind late last year when he canceled DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program. But on Wednesday, Trump reversed course, telling reporters he would reject any immigration deal that doesn't provide funding for a militarized border wall. So Trump said, I would imagine that the people in the room, both Democrat and Republican, I really believe they're going to come up with a solution to the DACA problem, which has been going on for a long time, and maybe beyond that, immigration as a whole. But any solution has to include the wall, because without the wall, it all doesn't work. You could look at other instances. Look what happened in Israel. They put up a wall. They solved a very major problem. We need the wall. We need to have the wall. We have to have the wall. He's saying Israel is a good template. Israel, what would, man, yeah, they don't have, we want the United States and Mexico to look more like Israel and Palestine. Holy shit, Donald Trump. How, like, what is this dude like? Where is his brain? Like who told him that was an okay analogy? He's like, oh, look at what Israel, they're freaking Israel. He's comparing Israel's conflict with their neighbors to freaking like that's something to astound to. He's a fan of Pink Floyd. Ha! Good one, Joe. I actually doubt that's true. Let's see here. Colin said, not to be a downer, but when you sang, the viewer count dropped a bit. I do have a cold. I probably shouldn't be playing that much because I do have a cold. It's a little difficult to sing. Yeah, I got to be more careful of that. I should probably lay off there. Been there, done that, minus the wall. What do you mean? Been there, done what? What are you referring to? But yeah, I don't think the wall is going to be built just because I don't think they have any kind of actual grip on how much the wall will cost. I don't think they have any footing there. Sorry, trying to make wall climbing puns. I really don't. I don't think they have any guesstimates as to how. Well, it doesn't make any sense to build the wall. Of course not. The wall is, first of all, it's just racist. I mean, let's call it what it is. It is a racist wall, and we don't know exactly how much it's going to cost. Trump is going to try to privatize the whole thing, so it'll cost even more. And it's, he's going to try to make it so that it just pads the pockets of some of his CEO friends. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, I don't think the wall is going to be built for that reason. I think that they're going to, they're just not gonna let it happen. So that's what I think. Let's see. ICE agents target scores of 7-Eleven stores in an immigration sweep. Trump's remarks came just hours after agents with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, raided nearly 100 7-Eleven stores around the U.S., delivering audit notices and arresting 21 people. Acting ICE Director Thomas Homan said the raids were meant to serve as a warning to employers that ICE would hold businesses accountable if they hire undocumented immigrants. Are they holding the businesses accountable? Because it looks like they just arrested immigrants. How is 7-Eleven being held accountable? And isn't this a good use of resources? Isn't this a good use of resources when our roads are in the toilet, when we need actual investment in green and renewable energy, when we have a failing education system, and we desperately need, I mean, there are so many needs for a job program in this country, and instead, what do we put our resources into? Trying to sniff out undocumented workers that deserve a reasonable path to citizenship. We should be honored and flattered that people come here looking for a better life, and we should give them the opportunity to do that. And we should invest in domestic projects that are so desperately needed so that there's plenty of opportunities for everybody. But instead, we invest in destruction, and we invest in terrorizing these people. I mean, how sad. How sad. What a waste of time. What a waste of time. To be going around doing this with taxpayer dollars. I mean, how... So many better things we could be doing than, tearing apart families and ruining the lives of people that just came here for a better opportunity. And actually, we have zero in that regard. There's more people going back over to Mexico than there are coming in now. So the idea that people are champing at the bits to come here, that's actually not true anymore. And we helped make it that way. We really did. All right, you guys are sending some articles, so I want to jump into that. This is from Marcus. All right, let's see this. This looks, I've not heard about this yet, so this is a new thing for me. I'm a dual citizen of England. That's pretty cool. Why do you live in the United States versus over there? Just out of curiosity. Becca, you're going to move to Ireland? I hear I'm going there this year. I'm supposed to go to Ireland this year. I'm supposed to do some tour dates over there. And I've never been, so I'm really looking forward to it. I've never been to Ireland. I hear it's freaking beautiful. I really want to go. So, Tennessee pastor gets a standing ovation after admitting sexual incident with teen. Okay. That's weird. A Tennessee pastor who publicly confessed to having a sexual incident with a high school student in 1998 received a thunderous standing applause when he asked to be forgiven. Before asking for forgiveness, Andy Savage, the megachurch pastor, sat on a wooden stool on the stage at High Point Church in Memphis on Sunday and admitted that he was guilty of sexual activity with a teen. And this is according to video footage of the event. As a college student on staff at a church in Texas more than 20 years ago, I regretfully had a sexual incident with a female high school senior in the church, he said. After his confession, the segregation congratulated the pastor for his honesty with loud cheers and a standing ovation. The victim, Jules Woodson, claimed that Savage assaulted her 20 years ago when she was a 17-year-old student. On Friday, Woodson went public with her story on WatchKeep, a Christian blog, after the rise of the Me Too hashtag empowered her to come forward and break the silence that protected her assaulter. According to Woodson, the assault occurred when Savage, who was 22, was giving her a ride home from the Woodlands Parkway Baptist Church just north of Houston. Woodson wrote that Savage pulled over the car, unzipped his jeans, pulled out his penis, and asked her to perform oral sex. I was scared and embarrassed, but I did it. I remember feeling that this must mean that Andy loved me. He then asked me to unbutton my shirt. I did. He started touching me over my bra and then lifted my bra up and began touching my breast. Woodson claims she notified Larry Cotton, associate pastor of the Baptist Church, after the incident, but was told to keep quiet. Through the tears, I told him I was too embarrassed to tell my mom what had happened. He said not to worry, that they would talk to my mother as well. He then told me not to mention anything that had happened to anyone else. A few weeks after Woodson's complaint, Savage mysteriously left the church. So here's the real story here. They covered it up. That guy didn't tell her not to tell her mom because he was worried about her embarrassment. He said it so that he could cover it up. And they mysteriously moved the other guy. And then he confessed. He made a confession and asked for forgiveness after she came forward. She came forward first. How clueless. And you know what? I'll say this, and I'm not trying to bash anybody that has religious views. I know a lot of people do. I have a lot of friends and family that do. I personally do not. But I really do see a lot of blind allegiance to religious authority figures, and it's absolutely ridiculous. This Tennessee pastor did not have some evolution. He did not. I mean, it doesn't seem like he actually had remorse, because the only thing he's saying is, like, he got caught. She came forward. So he's saying, I regretfully had a sexual incident. And he asked for forgiveness. Did he apologize? It doesn't say anything here. He admitted he was guilty because she broke the story. So he admitted to it. Yeah, he didn't deny it. I guess you can at least give him that. Did he apologize to her? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like he apologized. If you don't apologize, are you really remorseful? I don't think so. Do you guys think so? If you don't apologize to the person, I've regretted things I've done. If you listen to his speech, he repeatedly emphasized that. Emphasize what? What did he emphasize? It was 20 years ago. I understand that. Why was it covered up? Did he apologize? I don't want to watch his whole speech. I don't see anything in this article about an apology. He emphasized what? Did he emphasize that he wanted forgiveness, or he emphasized that it was 20 years ago? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying he emphasized that it was 20 years ago? This chat gets delayed sometimes, and it's hard for me to tell what exactly folks are saying. What's up, Chromatic Tree? Thank you so much for the like. Okay. So he wasn't sorry. He kept saying it was 20 years ago, it was 20 years ago, it was 20 years ago, it was 20 years ago. I gotcha. So yeah, asking for forgiveness isn't the same as apologizing. It totally isn't. This guy just got caught. He never would have asked for forgiveness. What a joke. And I bet you right after he did that, he reminded people why they need to give money to the church. I bet you, right, because this is a mega church. This is one of those, they are the most corrupt of the corrupt of the corrupt when it comes to churches. And let me tell you, that's a corrupt institution. When you're carrying the gold star for corruption, and I think mega churches, they get the gold star. They beat out pretty much everybody. They get the gold star for you are the corrupt of the corrupt of the corrupt. These pastors drive the nicest cars. They run their infomercials. It's insane. People buy into it. And George Carlin said it best. When it comes to clear bullshit, a businessman cannot hold a candle to a clergyman. Carlin said it right. Carlin said it best. And these are the corrupt of the corrupt. So yeah, this guy isn't sorry. This guy doesn't feel any remorse. He just got caught. And he has a room full of brainwashed drones that clapped for him. You know it's bad when you give the Vatican a run for their money. No shit. No shit. Wow. Wow. Ah. That's disgusting. That whole thing is disgusting. And I like how Newsweek they just say he gets a standing ovation. They don't like where's a headline where it's like they covered this up? Where's the headline that victim of sexual assault told to keep quiet by pastor authority? Why isn't that the headline? Newsweek is they have failed so miserably. Some of the people I think to write for Newsweek, you just have to have a pulse. I think that's it. Some of the people they've given articles to, and you see these people, they have no journalistic credentials whatsoever. They have no business writing. Some of the most ridiculous headlines, and this actually isn't that bad of a headline. I'm just kind of going off on a side tangent here. Didn't the church initially blame her for it? I don't see that in this particular article, but this is my first reading about it. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they blamed her or not. I would imagine they did, yeah. Honestly, yes, I would imagine they did. Let's keep in mind, these kind of far-right sects of Christianity, they are sexist, they are misogynist, and they entertain these very dangerous, archaic views. Who doesn't get blamed in the church? The pastors. They don't get blamed. The clergy. They don't get blamed. The people that make the most money. They don't get blamed. Those are the people that don't get blamed. Who does get blamed? Everybody else. But yeah, why isn't that a big thing here? Why isn't the thing that a victim was told to shut up? A victim was told to keep quiet. That's the real story here. It gets worse. The leader said after the ovation, all right. So wait, what did the leader say after the ovation? Did he say, give us money? Did he say, and by the way, for just $5, you can be saved too. I'm sure you committed worse things. It was 20 years ago. Forgive me. I'm Reverend Ron. Give me cash. So after it, the pastor said that they support both the victim and the predator. Of course. Oh, it's sad for everybody involved. It's this poor predator just wants their life back. Wow. And people clapped and stood up for this. People clapped and stood up for this. You know what's crazy is that I guarantee you, in that church that day, there was one child who's maybe between the ages of 12 and 15 that watched this whole thing unfold and thought in their mind, this is fucking bullshit. This is bullshit, and I gotta get out. And man, if that person is out there, and hey, who knows, maybe you're even watching this, get out. Turn 18 and get out. And I hate to use the cliche, but it gets better. It gets better. Man, I can't relate to that kind of extremity. You know, I mean, I did grow up with religion in my life, but you know, my parents were I call them buffet Catholics. Like they didn't like all the bad stuff they didn't follow, and all like the good principles, like the principles of loving your neighbor and peace and charity, they like that, but all the like abortion and anti-homosexuality stuff, they were like, yeah, no, that's wrong. And I was like, well, why do you go to church if it's wrong then? Well, because we like the other stuff. And I'm like, well, why don't you have to accept the whole thing? No. Like, well, no, you kind of do. Like, that's why I eventually said no, thank you. Don't want to be part of the team anymore. But I can relate to not connecting with you know, a lot of the stuff you were brought up with and wanting something more. And man. Whew. I hope that woman that was victimized is doing well now and moved on to a better life. And I hope she's not in that town anymore. I hope she doesn't practice that religion anymore. I hope she's doing better. And as far as this guy, I mean, he's successfully part of the rigged system. He's winning from it. I guarantee this pastor is rich. I guarantee he feels no remorse for what he's done. In fact, if anything, he feels even more validated because he got some nice attention for it from a bunch of people that blindly worship him. And I don't know what to think about people that subscribe to this kind of religion, these kind of fringe megachurch religions. Because it appears that you're telling this Tennessee pastor he can do no wrong. And I don't know. I'm no biblical scholar, but I'm pretty sure in the Bible, one of the big things that it harps on is thou shalt have no other God before me. Seems like that kind of contradicts that. All right, let's move on. All right, Raven, you wanted me to talk more about RT or do more from RT. So this is from RT. So let's go there. A Florida retirement village tells residents to take a back seat with a fleet of self-driving cars. A sprawling U.S. retirement village has announced plans to introduce a self-driving taxi service next year. Some 125,000 residents of the village's retirement community in Florida are set to benefit from the rollout by car company Voyage. Once implemented, the scheme will service all 54,000 households spanning 750 miles of road, the largest by area in the world, according to the firm. In a statement, Voyage, which operates a number of driverless taxis at another retirement community in San Jose, California, said a round of venture capital funding has raised its budget for the project to $20 million. Man. The villages enjoy something of a raucous reputation among retirees. We're the happening hip-hop and retirement home. We go nuts here. You should be here on Margarita Mondays. We just kind of let our hair down and party. You know, there actually is a lot of, in like retirement communities and stuff like that, there actually is a lot of sexual activity because, you know, I mean, it's one of those things, they don't have to worry about pregnancy at this point. And, you know, like a lot of them, their siggos have moved on, you know, like they're widowed, a lot of them. And so they're just kind of like, hey, I got needs, you got needs. Let's do this thing. And hey, I get it. All power to them. And I guess if you really want to have a good sex life in your golden years, you got to go to the villages. Jesse, yeah, our goal in life, we want to get to the villages when we get old. The villages in Florida. By then there will totally be self-driving cars. Nobody will drive cars. So this will be like completely past, but it looks like they're going to be using self-driving cars. My cat Lucy's excited about this. She keeps trying to jump up here on the thing. She wants some attention. I'm petting her. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm petting my cat. You know. So these cars can be hailed using a mobile app. They're not fully autonomous, as each vehicle comes with its own driver who can take over in case of an emergency. There's somebody chilling there being like, yeah, the car's driving itself, but in case shit gets weird, I'm here. What's going on today? And they'll be like, it's raucous. It's bingo night. They call me Bingo Billy because I win all the time. So the Voyages, man, the Voyages, by then, robots will be driving cars. We'll all have, like, mechanical limbs. You know what's crazy to think about? I am very confident that we are going to see all self-driving cars. Like, it's going to be only self-driving cars. I believe we're going to see that before we see no cars using gasoline. Like, before we have exclusively electric vehicles, I think we will see exclusively self-driving vehicles before then. And I used to think the opposite. I was talking with a friend of mine, and we kind of unpacked it. Excuse me, I need some water. Sorry. We unpacked it together, and I was like, no, dude, we're going to get off gasoline before we see all self-driving cars. And he works in the tech industry, like he does some tech type stuff, like that was his training. So he kind of unpacked it for me, and he explained to me how he's like, look, we still can't get that far on a charge, and people aren't interested in investing in it because of the money that oil and gas pumps into us not doing that. Meanwhile, self-driving cars, like, we're pretty much just about there. And, you know, the computer is easy to kind of mass produce. That was what he was telling me. And, you know, he had more tech know-how than me. So by the end of the conversation, I was like, shit, he's right. We are probably going to see, if I did make a bet, like, hey, are we going to see all self-driving cars or all electric cars? What are we going to see first? I think we're going to see all self-driving cars first. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think? And I wish it was the latter. I really do. I wish we would see all electric cars. I wish we would see all electric cars tomorrow. But yeah, we're not going to. Guys, we are almost out of time. This really went by fast. Thank you so much for being here. Excuse my cold. I know I'm still fighting something. Peanut oil, yeah. Electric self-driving flying cars. I think we're still a long way from there, but that would be a good name for a band. So we got that going for us. You sent me a tweet. All right, well, let me get to it, and then that'll be our last one for today. Let's see here. I'm not seeing a tweet. Oh, wait, here you go. All right, here we go. We'll end on oh wait, we have a couple different ones here. All right. I'll do we got two more. So we'll do both of them and then we'll dismount. So this is from Lucky Scott. And here's what Lucky Scott says about this. All the brave on-air personalities hammer Trump. Oh, wait. I think this is actually a reply. This isn't a... Oh, this isn't a Get Your News On with Ron submission. Oh, oops. He was just agreeing with something I said. Oh, yeah, Lucy's here. Say hi, Lucy. So I tweeted, breaking news, an out-of-touch billionaire has no empathy and said shithole. This is our media. This is why we lose. Somebody responded to that. It's not a submission for Get Your News On with Ron, but I guess we talked about it, so we're going to cover it. Yes, all the brave on-air personalities hammer Trump for all the stupid things he says, which he does say a lot of things, a lot of stupid things, while ignoring genocide. Is Yemen too much of a shithole to cover? Question mark. So here's an article. Is the Trump administration enabling genocide in Yemen? And will Americans ever pay attention? The Saudis are trying to starve Yemeni rebels into submission, and the U.S. is turning a blind eye, or worse. That's because we have a good relationship with the Saudis. While President Donald Trump has been busy distracting attention from the Russia inquiry at home and shoring up his humanitarian credentials in Syria, this is the article, by the way. And this from Salon. His administration has also. How can you say? I mean, the first sentence of this article makes me want to stop reading. While President Donald Trump has been busy distracting attention from the Russia inquiry at home. No, the Russia inquiry distracts attention from every other fucking issue. You got it backwards. The Russia inquiry distracts attention from everything else that's going on. And it actually empowers Trump because it pisses off his base. I mean, how tone deaf can the media be? Every day, I think it can't possibly get any worse. Somehow it does. It's unbelievable. But you know what? If the media wasn't this terrible, I wouldn't have a job. So I guess in some weird way, I should be thankful they're this big of a disaster. I'd rather have universal health care, I think. I'd rather have a country that has universal health care. Unbelievable. All right, his administration has also participated in a quiet effort to starve millions of Yemeni civilians into submission. This has been going on for a long time. The Saudi-led coalition waging war in Yemen with the United States' full support has been carrying out a bombing campaign that has made it virtually impossible for most of the country to feed itself. Yeah, that's been going on for years. For years. The result is a Yemeni child is starving to death once every 10 minutes, 4,000 dying each month. How this came about and what it means for the moral integrity of American culture may be the most neglected story of our time. Yeah, it came about because we have a good relationship with Saudi Arabia. They help us maintain the petrodollar. They help us maintain what we want to maintain in the Middle East, which is extraction of resources and creating terrorists because we have an economy of war that relies on having people to fight. Oh, man. Unbelievable. Your step family is Yemen. Are they over there? Are they over there? Are they okay? I think the one thing to take away from this article, other than the fact that the first sentence was absolutely ridiculous, is that how are they doing? The ones that are over there, are they okay? You're saying you have family over in Yemen. I hope they're okay. I mean, it's crazy what's going on over there. And I guess maybe one kind of positive, to try to put a positive on this, if people were going to pay attention, now they're going to. Because one thing that Trump has done is he's had people, he's caused people to pay attention. You know, I mean, he's caused people to pay attention because people are so riled up that they're paying attention more, and that's a good thing. So I guess what I'm getting at is, if ever people are going to actually pay attention to what's going on in Yemen, because the corporate media is not going to tell you. Corporate media is not going to tell you. But if ever people were going to pay attention about what's going on in Yemen, now would be the time. Just because people are really awake right now. So I guess that's one kind of positive to kind of take from this. Yeah, I heard Chris Cuomo ask Bernie about Oprah 2020 today, and apparently he said she'd make a great president. I disagree. You know, I'm glad they're fine markets, and I hope they continue to be fine. I think it's great that Oprah made a speech that inspired a lot of people, and she's a great orator. And I've never watched her show, but I'm assuming she's a good show host, or she wouldn't be as successful as she is. But yeah, that doesn't qualify one to be president. It really doesn't. And you know, this whole cult of celebrity being president, we are literally making Idiocracy real. I mean, we are making it so that the future generations are going to watch Idiocracy and think it was a documentary. They're going to think it was a documentary. So we're going to end on something a little lighter. Here's kind of like a goofy junk article. That'll be a fun one. Sex robots could make men obsolete as women of the future get wooed. Hold on. An ad popped up. Okay, an ad keeps popping up. All right. Yeah, this is kind of a junk news website. Sex robots could make men obsolete. This is from the Daily Mail. Sex robots could make men obsolete as women of the future get wooed by dashing men bots who will also do the housework, Harvard mathematician claims. A Harvard mathematician. What a good use for that math degree. You're a Harvard mathematician at one of the most prestigious universities in the world. And what are you doing with that? Yeah, Lucy's interested in this. She's meowing. As soon as I brought up sex robots, she was fascinated. She's like, I need to hear this. What an interesting thing, Jesse said. I'm down. No offense, gentlemen. Hey, none taken. I get it. You know, I get it. If these robots, Becca's on board too. All right, they clean the house and they'll woo ya. And I guess they can go a long time in the bedroom, apparently. Dr. Kathy O'Neill suggested women and men may coexist but not cohabitate. They may just choose these men bots. Sex robots could make men. Yeah, what an interesting thing. A Harvard University mathematician. Hey, what are you working on? Are you working on like a new theorem that might be able to like better engineer whatever that mathematician? No, I'm working on an algorithm to make the most efficient sex robot. I am applying for a grant from the Kinsey Institute. I'm going to make the best sex robot you have ever seen. And I'm doing all of the math myself. This is a female doctor. So she's like, my favorite part of my experiments are the case studies, which just involves myself, the best robot vibrator I could make mathematically, a bottle of wine, and sometimes a copy of 50 Shades of Grey. It depends on my mood. All power to her. That's freaking awesome. So Dr. Kathy O'Neill from Harvard University claims females of the future could get spoiled by dashing men bots who also do the dishes. It's a basic human need to want someone to love and to have sex, but most women also look for someone who does their fair share of the chores around the house. All right. Mathematician says it's entirely possible that robots will outperform men, and women of the future could choose to live with men bots instead. Men bots also would be a cool band name. So I guess we'll see what happens. And, dating's tough enough out there. Am I right? Huh? All those apps, which one can you use? Can they cook, though? It seems like, no, they do not cook. It doesn't say anything about cooking. Guys, I'm glad we were able to end on something a little lighter. And that's the fun of Get Your News On with Ron. You know, you guys send me the articles, and we go by what you guys tweet. So it's totally possible that we could go from a story about the military-industrial complex to a story about war propaganda to a story about sex robots. That's where we can go here. One right after the other. No transitions. All visceral, all raw, all in the moment. That's what we do here. This has been Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. If you want to support this show, you can do so at patreon.com/Ron Placone. Please do consider it. For as low as $1 a month, you get exclusive podcasts, exclusive videos, free show tickets when I come to perform in your town, meetup group information. We've been having meetups all around the country. We have one in Pittsburgh, one in Portland, one in Los Angeles. My cat keeps trying to climb up on the table. I don't want her to knock over the cameras because we're almost done. So yeah, patreon.com/Ron Placone. If you are so able, I would appreciate it very, very much. Without your support, this show could not exist. Thank you guys so much for being here. This has been Get Your News On with Ron. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can tweet me articles. That's where you tweet me articles, or you can send them to our Reddit. That's reddit.com/r/getyournewsonwithron. RonPlacone.com. I will be coming to a city near you very soon. Lucy does want to take over. Get Your News On with Lucy. She went to the floor now. I guess she's over it. I'll I'll send you guys off with the theme song. Get your news on the run. I wanna know what's going on. Get your news on today. Get your news on the run. I wanna know what's going on. So they don't start World War III. You can tweet me an article at Placone. We'll go through it together. We'll make it all wrong. Get your news on the run. I wanna know what's going on. Get our news on today. Oh man, this has been Get Your News On with Ron. I'm still sick, as you can tell. My voice is giving out. I apologize for that. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone. We do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, even if we need to pre-record it, but 99% of the time we are live. That's Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And guys, if you're watching this, you can catch me on the Young Turks today, Friday, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. I will be on hour 1. Check it out on YouTube if you can. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will be back Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another stream. This is me, Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. Have a good weekend. Stay safe out there.